lovely people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Grace Fatolu. Welcome back. I want to teach you another day. Today I want to teach you on how to cut handkerchief flare. Handkerchief flare with half cut. Before we continue, if you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do so. Share my video with your friends, family members and loved ones. Don't forget to like my video. Give it a thumb up. Like my video, share it with your friends, subscribe, and please click on the notification bell so that you'll be able to be notified anytime I upload a new video. Once again, welcome back to my channel. Today we are cutting handkerchief flare. Handkerchief flare. I'll be making use of this material, chiffon material. This gown will be having a half cut. I'll be cutting the half length first. The length of the half cut is 15 inches. 15 inches. And I will be adding 1 inch for seam allowance. Altogether, I have 16 inches here. From my starting point here, I measure 15 inches for half length. I added another 1 inch for seam allowance. I will join the lines together. The chiffon material, so that's why it's shaking like that. The extra 1 inch I added for seam allowance, I will also join the line. I use the bust measurement for folding. The material is moving up and down because it's chiffon. The bust measurement of the person is 34 inches. 34 inches divided by 4. I'll be using 4 inches to divide the 34 inches. 34 divided by 4. 34 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. 8.5 inches. I'll be adding 2 inches for seam allowance. 2 inches for seam allowance. The bust measurement, which is the highest portion of the girl's body measurement, is 34 inches. That is what I'll be using for folding. 34 divided by 2. That is 8.5, 8.5. I added another 2 inches for seam allowance.
Like as if
the shoulder measurement is 7.5. 7.5 shoulder measurement. At the point of that shoulder measurement, I'll be measuring the armhole line. The armhole I'll be using for the girl, the length is 7.5 too. 7.5. I'll connect to the shoulder. From the folded parts here, I measure 7.5 inches for shoulder. And for that point, I measure 7.5 or so for a armhole. This is 7.5. I'll draw it up to this place. And I will connect the line to the shoulder. The neck width I'll be using is 3.5. I'll be using 3.5 inches for the neck width. And I'll be using 5 inches for the depth of the neck. 3.5 inches for the width and 5 inches for the depth. I will connect the lines together. I'm connecting the lines together around neckline. Now at the shoulder, where the 7.5 inches ends, I'll be coming in by 1 inch for shoulder slope or slant, 1 inch. And from the neckline, I will connect the line to that 1 inch for shoulder slope. And I want to determine the armhole, but before then, let's measure the bust. I told you from the shoulder, I measure 7.5 inches for the armhole. I will repeat the same thing from the beginning here, so that I'll be able to insert the bust measurement. On the armhole line, that is where I will be inserting the chest line. On this chest line, which is the bust point, that's where I will be inserting a bust measurement. And I told you the bust measurement is 34 inches. 34 inches divided by 4 will give me 34 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. 8.5, I mark it here with additional 2 inches for seam allowance. 2 inches for my seam allowance. Now, to determine the armhole, I'll come to this shoulder line. From here to the armhole, I have 7.5, and I will look for the midpoints of the armhole. And don't forget that for the shoulder slope, I mark 1 inch here. So right from that 1 inch, I will measure what I have left. I have 6.5 left. Originally, I had 7.5 inches. I've deducted 1 inch for shoulder slope, and now I'm left with 6.5. And the half for 6.5 now will give me 3.25, 3.25. That is what I'll be having for the armhole. To find the midpoint of the armhole, this is 3.25, 3.25. And at that point, I will come in by half of an inch. At that midpoint, I will come in by half of an inch. Half of an inch. And from where my bust measurement stops, where it ends, the 2 inches allowance that I added to the bust point, I will mark it down like this for the armpit hole. Look at the way I'm marking it. I'm coming down to this half inch. To this half inch. Don't mind me, because this material is chiffon, that's why it's shifting there and there. I'll mark it to this half of an inch. I'll go back to the armhole line. So if I want to cut it, I will cut from here, come down to the half inch at the midpoint. I will go back to the armhole line. Now let me connect the line here together, the bust line. Now our under bust is 11.5. Our under bust is 11.5, and our under bust is 29 inches. I will divide that 29 inches by 4. It will give me 7.25. 29 inches divided by 4. I'll mark it like this, and also added 2 inches for seam allowance. 2 inches. Now to the waistline. I told you our waist is 15 inches, and I added another additional 1 inch, which makes it 16 for seam allowance. On that 16 inches, I'll be marking the waist measurements. Our waist measurement is 28.5. 28.5 divided by 4 I'll mark it and I'll be adding 2 inches for seam allowance. Having done that, I will connect the lines together from the bust down to the under bust, from the under bust down to the waist, from the bust to the under bust down to the waist. Now it's time to cut it out. This is the under bust to the bust. This is the handle. Don't forget, at the midpoint you come into that half of an inch, then you come back to the line. Now the shoulder slope of 1 inch, from there I'll slant it down to the shoulder, to the neckline, and I will cut the neckline out 5 inches to the width of 3.5 inches. That is it. Now I will be placing this on the remaining fabric for the back panel. The difference between the two is the zipper allowance. I'll be adding additional 1.5 inches for zip allowance. I've placed the front panel directly on the fabric. I've made sure everything aligns. I'll be adding 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. I need just 1.5 inches here. For the neckline, for the back neckline, I'll be using 2 inches for the width. I'm still maintaining, this is 1.5 inches. I will still maintain the 3.5 inches for the width of the neck, but 2 inches for the back neckline. 2 inches instead of 5 inches we use for the front. I'm using 2 inches here. I will connect the line from the neckline, from the 2 inches for the depth of neck back. Look at it. The back panel I'll be using 2 inches for the neck depth. I will connect the line right here, connect it down to the zipper side, and I'll cut it out. So the only difference between the front and the back panel is the zip allowance. The zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. So let's cut it. I'm cutting it already. I will split the back into two because of the zip will be added to it. The down part of the clothes, the handkerchief part of it. I'm folding the clothes into two like this. I'll be folding the clothes into four. This is my fabric. Into two, now into four. Full circle. Full circle. Look at it. Into two, down into four. To get the circumference of the waist, one will be joining to the upper part of the cloth that we have cut out before. The hip measurement, the waist measurement is, I will be working with is 28 and a half. I will divide that 28 and a half by 6.28. That is standard formula. 6.28 divided by the waist measurement, which is 28 and a half. That will give me 4.5. 4.5. That is what I'll be using for the waist circumference. 4.5, 4 and a half. That is what I will chalk round. The waist measurement divided by 6.28. That is the standard measurement. And whatever I get, I will use it to mark around the waist circumference. The gown length is 44 inches. The half length is 15, the one we cut before. Now, look at this, 15 inches, which is the waist measurement, the half length of the clothes. I will be putting it here. I'll put that 15 inches here, which is the half length of the clothes that we've already cut out. Now to get the full length. This is 39 inches. This is 39 inches. My fabric is not all that enough. I'll be adding band to the upper part of the dress. Check what I have left here. I have 23 inches. I'm going to mark that 23 inches round to get the down part. I'll be cutting off this waist circumference. That is where we'll be attaching to the upper part of the dress. I have 23 inches. So that's what I will be marking round.
Alright.
From here, 23 inches. I'll mark 23 inches round. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23 round. My fabric is not enough here. That's why I added that part. I joined to the down part of the clothes. 23 inches. 23 inches. 23. Now, we've chalked out the full flare. Now to get the handkerchief flare, we come to the center here. Look at it. This is the center. Make sure the line is straight. Center. This is where what we chalk ends. So make sure you are the center from the beginning. Here, look at it. The center. Make sure you are the center. You draw the line down. Now, at the end here, where we have our 23 inches that we mark round, at that midpoint, to get our handkerchief flare, we come down, we mark 6 to 8 inches. 6 to 8 inches. Here we have, let me use 7 inches. 7 inches. I told you we mark from the beginning here. look for the midpoint. When it ends, you mark 7 or 8 inches down, at least 6, but here I'll be using 7 inches. If you have enough fabric, you can mark up to 8 inches. Now you get your ruler. From the beginning here, you draw a straight line to that 7 inches. From the beginning here, mark a straight line to that 7 inches. I told you from the point here, we mark down 7 inches. Now from the beginning of where you started marking it, your 23 inches, you mark it down to that 7 inches. You also come to the down part here. Don't mind this, I joined the fabric. You also mark it down to that 7 inches. You mark it down to that 7 inches. Then you cut it out. Firstly, I will cut out the circumference here. Remember, I used 4.5 inches to cut out the circumference. The waistline is 28.5 divided by 6.85. My answer is 4.5. That's what I use for the circumference. That's the standard. Now, from here, instead of cutting straight, assuming we are not adding handkerchief flare, I will cut down to that 7 inches that we added to it. Instead of cutting like this, I've cut down to that 7 inches. I told you you can use 8. I have pin here. I will also cut down to the other side. Now look at it. Look at what we have. Look at what we have. Let me turn it to the front. This is our handkerchief flare. This is our handkerchief flare. Can you see it? Now, this is the upper part. I've joined it together. I've added the zipper too. I'll be using bias tool for the neckline. Now, to join it to the upper parts, we look for the center. I've already notched the center here of the upper parts. I will also notch the center of our handkerchief flare. I'll match it together and sew it round with the same measurements. I will go ahead and add the sleeve to it, and that is just the end of the fabric. That's how to cut handkerchief flare. It's as simple as that. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube, share my video with your friends and loved ones, like.
Wait.
Now this is the end result of our handkerchief flare. Can you see it? Look at how beautiful it looks like. You can make the same thing. Look at it. This is the upper part. I joined the handkerchief flare to the upper parts. So please, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my video, share with your friends and loved ones, and please subscribe.